Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, I want to do a full review on these Army Men silver figurines I got from APMEX. I showed you a kind of a sneak peek in the unboxing video, but I want to dive a little bit deeper into these, show more detail, and talk about them a little bit. So first off, my biggest curiosity when I got these was if they actually mimic the original designs of these Army Men. Obviously, a lot of us remember growing up as a kid and playing with these guys, and some of these figures were familiar to me, but I haven't played with them in so many years, I didn't know if they were identical replicas or not. Now, these came from a dollar store, I believe it was a Dollar General, and they're Delta Force brand. This is one of dozens of companies that make these Army Men toys. This is not the original company that made them. And in comparing them, you can see I found all their counterparts. Now they come in a variety of colors these days. They're not just a straight green. There's actually 3 different types of green and even a khaki color, which maybe more appropriately represents our modern day soldiers and where they're in combat. But it was very interesting to find that, yes, they are identical replicas to the plastic Army Men. Now, of course, this is a 6-piece set. There's obviously more designs than 6. There's no laying down guy or some of the other designs you might see in a pack of the toys. But I was able to pluck out individual ones that directly mimic what we have in the set. So first off, let me give you a comparison between these. So we have the mortar guy, and you can see the detail on the silver piece is actually finer than the detail on the actual toy. And what I believe, the reason for that is that the original Army Men had way more detail. And these were probably cast, or a mold was made using the original Army Men. Okay, because this is a ripoff, it's a little bit faded or a little bit kind of a mushy detail. But you can see it is identical. I mean, the size, the shape, even the bases are identical. Whereas this says 999 silver, that says China. But you can see, just completely perfect on the design here. Okay, you're just, again, getting more detail in the silver figurine. Just really cool. I was pleasantly surprised to see that. Obviously going to keep these with this just as a conversation piece. To show you another design here. Here's one of the riflemen. All right, and again, you can see everything from the pouch that's on his waist down to the wrinkles on his bent knee are identical. The rifle, excuse me, that he's carrying. There's even more detail in the silver piece than it is in the plastic Army Man. Just super cool. And this goes for all 6 pieces. I just really like it a lot. Very interesting. I'm dubbing these the adult G.I. Joes. You know what I'm saying? We used to love playing with these as kids. And now that they have a pure silver version, it is the adult version. And I kind of see this, what's funny is this reminded me of back when I used to go to the Franklin Mint in the mall, and they still sell these type things, but if you ever seen the gold version of like Monopoly or Clue, it's basically the adult versions of these board games where they're like $200 or $300. They have a beautiful 3D wood board, with like gold clad pieces and stuff like that. It's basically the top of the line version of the same toy. Okay, in that sense, we're talking about board games where you have a cheap mass-produced board game compared to a fancy or ritzy version of that board game. This is the same thing. We have a mass-produced, extremely commonly known toy for kids, usually $1. Like you say, you get them at the dollar store, but there's a adult version in pure silver. So I suppose if you were a wealthy child, these would be the Army Men you'd be playing with. But I think they're very, very cool. They have such a novelty to them. I find them super fascinating. Let me show you some other ones here again, just to show you that they're all identical to the Army Men. This guy holding his pistol and his binoculars. All right. And of course, we also have the flamethrower dude, which is one of the cooler ones. And as I flip them over, you can see the tanks. Pretty damn cool. You can see all the detail in this one. The tanks, the hose coming down. This one's just a little bit more of a blurb. You can kind of make out the 2 tanks and a mush behind it and kind of a tube coming down. So much more detail on the actual silver pieces compared to the Army Men. All right, we have here the radio guy. Now it's interesting on the silver piece, you can see the original one had the I don't know if this is the handle to a like a shovel, you know, an army shovel, or if that's supposed to be, you know, part of the rifle that's in this pack, or if that's, more than likely, that's the radio antenna, but it just seems pretty thick to be an antenna. But on the silver piece, because that would be too delicate of a piece, I imagine, they cut it off where the head is. Okay, so this is not missing silver. This is just how this one is molded specifically. All right, just want to make a note of that. Okay, so if you happen to get this one, you're like, hey, where's the thing up there? Well, it's not missing. It's just, I guess they realized that that would be, you know, too easily broken off, so they decided not to do that. But besides that, every single one mimics it perfectly. So, you know, what do these things cost? Well, you could buy these individually. So if you don't want to spend as much money, or if you didn't want to get the whole set at once, you can buy it individually. Buying them one piece at a time, depending on how you pay, because APMEX does offer a slight discount if you pay, you know, wiring the money as opposed to like a credit card or PayPal or something. On the low end, $55 a piece, $58 on the high end. The whole set of 6 is $310 on the low end and $323 on the high end. All right, so essentially you're gonna save a couple bucks if you buy it as a set. Like with anything in the world, the more you buy together, the cheaper it is. But each piece is gonna be around, you know, $50 to $55 per ounce. They're 1 ounce pieces. So, you know, for a lot of silver collectors and silver buffs out there, you're thinking, no way, I can't. There's no way. You know, spot right now is to the filming of this video. And by the way, these prices will, of course, fluctuate with the cost of silver, obviously. But right now, silver's at, I think, $19.30, somewhere around there, $19.28 or $19.30 a troy ounce. And that's the spot price. So to buy an ounce of silver that's literally a little bit more than double is no good for a lot of people. They would write it off, not even consider it. It's way too expensive for silver. And even in this video, you'll see comments, it's too expensive, it's overpriced. Well, it's a collectible. And as a collectible, just like when you're talking about the actual silver price in a coin, as opposed to its value as a coin and its rarity and so forth, those prices do change. Lower mintage on these things, you're not going to find this all over the place. You'd be very hard pressed to find this in the future. That could be a pro or a con, depending on how you look at it. If you were to invest in something like this, whether it's a single piece or a couple pieces or the whole set, to sell it in the future, it may be extremely easy to sell. It may be very difficult to sell because it's a niche type thing. I would say there's probably less people who collect silver for the collectible part of it. They're definitely out there, and there's a lot of them. But I would say, you know, there's more people who want to buy silver for just, you know, as cheap as they could possibly get it. They don't care what it looks like. Those are the people who are buying, you know, bullion and just random, you know, rounds and stuff like that. But that's not what this is for. This is a collectible item, and that's why it has a higher value. Just like if you were to get, say, you know, a brand new silver eagle, you're not going to pay spot for it. You're going to pay a little bit of a premium. And as a collectible, this does hold a premium. But it is badass, and it is super cool. This is an awesome, awesome present if you wanted to get your you know, sons into you know, collecting silver. It might be cool if they're like, you know, maybe in that middle age, young teenager or something like that. They can appreciate silver. You wouldn't necessarily want to give this to a small child. They wouldn't know the difference. Wouldn't make a difference, you know what I mean? But it might be cool for, like, you know, anywhere from 10 to 15 or something. So they can, you know, kind of play with them a little bit, but also, you know, see the value as silver collectibles, and obviously they can add to their collection if that's something you do for your kids. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I thought it was really cool. It's definitely not something that everyone's going to appreciate. There are a lot of people out there who collect silver, and just, you know, the goal is to get it as cheap as possible, and this is not for them. This does have a certain niche type market, but I love the novelty there. I think it's really cool. I love that it's unique and it's rare. You're not going to find, 20 years from now, you're probably never going to find these ever again. There'll be a select few people who still have them. But I thought it was pretty cool, and it's another way to have an excuse to play. You know, I'm going to quote someone. I heard this recently. I thought it was awesome and so true. The difference between men and boys is the cost of their toys. So there you have it. In a nutshell, there's you know, a perfect statement for this. So if you miss playing with G.I. Joes and Army men, well, as an adult, you have a good excuse to do that with these silver ones. So that's all, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Take care.